Back again. The wildly popular Oscars preview last year did excellent on downloads.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Definitely. People were very interested. You got
me and Joe are.
You and Joe. You kind of know what you're
bump
doing.
Ratings, but they call us in.
Your Q
Always. I get a lot of that.
Yeah. Your Q rating in Evansville is very high. Both of you.
I gotta get closer to the mic. See, I'm not good at it. I'm here for the ratings, not because I know how the technology works.
We'll fix it in post.
Am I allowed to swear on air? I don't remember.
You can do whatever you want.
I didn't remember.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Whatever you're comfortable with. And if so, I can.
The movies we're talking about had cuss words, so we might as well.
No, you do what you gotta do. If you think that something was
I'm overdressed. I have pants
really
on. We're doing this wrong.
Yeah. You should have worn your yoga pants.
I really should have. I did this wrong.
Yeah, this is a yoga and pancake studio.
You wear yoga pancakes. Please feel free to take any of the pancakes in the middle of the table.
By the way, I wanted to bring something up before we get going.
Sure, go for it.
I listened to last year's before we started.
I'm nervous.
Yeah.
We were supposed to be. You promised us John Wick 2 would be nominated.
And he did. I remember.
Yeah. Did I say that?
There was a guarantee.
Oh my gosh! It was. I was riding a high.
That wasn't even like a maybe this will happen. Okay. That was like.
Yeah. So let me maybe take that back a little bit on a rewatch.
So John Wick 2 snow.
John Wick 2, not as good as I remembered on the rewatch, but it was still excellent movie. Excellent movie. Probably better than a few of these movies.
I still haven't seen it, so
but
probably better than Roman.
Not as good as John Wick 1, but excellent movie. So maybe next time.
All right.
John Wick 3. Cross our fingers. But yeah, so notable thing. I mean, not necessarily calling it, but saying don't be surprised if Moonlight wins. Moonlight won.
I hate to pat myself on the back.
This guy right here, yeah.
I almost predicted too that they would pick a different winner. And then Moonlight would win, but I was afraid that would be.
You thought that would be too really on the nose?
Just always go for it, man. That's what we learned last year.
No, but
Corey knew it better than Warren Beatty. It's good.
I loved it.
Right.
That was awesome. The way I thought they all handled that really good.
The guy from La La Land. Yeah. I mean, I don't forget what his name was, but he was so classy about the way he handled it. I mean, a lot of credit.
That's a lot of emotion right there.
I thought
he handled it well. Yeah.
Kimmel came out with the appropriate humor about
it. They brought him back this year, so he must have handled it okay.
So, and unfortunately for Kimmel, he's got this air about him that he's making a joke at improper times. So people were like, "Are you sure this is really happening?"
Well, I started to get a sense because I was watching it, and you started to see guys with microphones and headsets walking around among the people, and I'm like, "Oh shit, it is on!"
Yeah,
something is up right now. My wife's like, "No, I think they're just." Oh,
yeah.
I mean,
exactly. So quite notable. So hopefully, this year, how are they going to top that? I mean, do you think more
they're
people
going to do it right?
More people will watch now because of that, or do you think it was just one of those things and there people who watch will watch? So
I think people who watch will watch.
Yeah.
But I do think, and I don't want to spoil anything, but I think this year there's less of a consensus.
Yeah, absolutely.
This year it's going to be more surprising.
Yeah, I think we'll address that later.
Yeah, but, I don't feel like there is that clear.
Yeah. Because I have thoughts too, and I don't usually have thoughts. But
it's not going to be John Wick 2. Damn it!
I'm very sad about that.
Come on.
It really should have been.
We can do a Razzies.
Maybe we do. Maybe we'll look at it. We'll look at it.
Night before the Oscars.
Yes. So, Cory Edwards. Everyone knows you at this point. Let's listen to any episode because you're on 90% of them now.
Thank you for having me back.
Are you sure you found the place all right?
Yeah.
Okay. Helped yourself to the fridge and all that?
Sure.
Okay, great.
I also kind of just pointed out, I love that James McLeod drew his Donald Trump on the table.
It's perfect. We were so happy.
I love that James did that. Hi, James.
Yeah, and he said, this podcast is fake news, which is amazing.
Sad.
So it's amazing. So enjoy Atkinson. So welcome back, and really we need to have you on without Corey so we can actually talk.
No, for real. Yeah.
Yeah, for real. Though,
you had a big year
because
I did some things.
You do some things.
Some stuff.
So maybe a quick recap of like from what you've done this year that people may or may not know about.
It's funny because I feel like I took a year off.
Yeah.
Because I did a release from the Ashes this year, which was the documentary about the UE plane crash. Released it on the 40th anniversary, but I had mostly finished it before that. I had played at a film festival about a year earlier and that sort of thing. So, whereas it seems like I had a very busy and active year, really, I just kind of cleaned things up and got it ready to release, and it was a little more. But You know,
Tremendous.
the reaction to thank you.
I mean, it's unbelievable. Have you seen it?
I was telling him I have not seen it.
It's-
So we don't have DVR
so we went and
capabilities in
saw
our
it.
house, but I will see it eventually.
Went and
Yes.
saw it at Showplace on the 40th, and it's incredible.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm
Thank you.
very anxious to see it. So
It's
I
been-
will catch it for sure.
There was way more. I thought I kind of knew the whole story. There was way more than even I realized. I didn't realize like the Sloan thing. He had taken the job and then gotten out of it. Just a lot of things that I thought I knew the whole story and still learned more. And it was really well done.
Well, thank you. Well, you know, what's interesting is that there were a number of people who were involved who said, you know, because everybody knows their part of the story. I
Sure.
mean, if you were there that night, you know about that, but you don't necessarily know about the other things. And so even they were coming up after and going, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
So that's it was.
Well, good.
The response has been really, really nice to that. Other than that, I just did some plays with Evansville Civic Theater. I got to be, you know,
That's the thing.
Now
too.
Yeah.
I got one. Now I have a problem with one of those.
which one?
You can't have a play called Killer Joe and not let you be Killer Joe.
Yeah.
We had Kevin
What's
Roach,
up?
who's a great actor. So I mean, you know,
Kevin
he,
Roach
Kevin's-
signed over
Kevin's
here
great.
somewhere. Yeah.
Kevin's over there.
Have
yeah.
a great summer.
Yeah.
Kevin Roach.
Kevin came in and he no
Sure.
pun intended, he killed it. So
Yeah.
you know, I got to play
he's pretty good.
I got to play the dad. So I had a beard that was bigger than probably both of yours right now put together. It was
So jealous.
I'm not gonna lie. My wife was like, "That goes
off.
the
Yeah,
night after
right,
it
yeah,
closes," and it did. Like I've got a before and after
So
on
good.
Instagram. That thing
Yeah.
gone.
Awesome.
That's funny. So yeah. So
Oh, and do you want to know about my year?
yeah. How's your been?
Nothing.
Okay,
It's
great.
the
He's been growing that beard. That's really it.
Perfect.
I haven't cut my hair since the last podcast.
That's
last
okay.
Oscar
That's
preview.
factually correct.
All right.
So yeah, so we have. I just wanted to establish some credibility early on. We have a filmmaker and a film lover, and I assume filmmaker and film lover.
Yeah,
So
yes.
So and you guys have seen the movies. You've done the work. You've put in hours. You've checked all this stuff out, and you have opinions. So that's what we appreciate. Yeah.
We
few.
know as much as most of the people that are listening.
Oh
so
yeah. No, and like
can
even
fake
the
this, it's
experts, you
fine.
know as much
And
as
we're
them
really
too,
good
for
at
sure.
pretense, which helps with the Oscar.
Yeah,
sure.
we are excellent at unearned confidence.
Which is all we ask.
So I feel like we're gonna nail this. So
Perfect. So what we'll do is we'll jump in, and if I have a category, like I said, you don't like or don't know as much about, just tell me skip it, and
Sure.
I'll edit it out.
All right.
perfect.
Visual effects.
Oh yeah. Let's do
Okay,
it.
great.
I don't know what's nominated, but let's
so
do it.
we have Blade Runner 2049. We have Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. Kong Skull Island. Star Wars The Last Jedi. And War of the Planet of the Apes.
I've seen one.
And here's the thing. I basically sat out the summer this year with movies.
Yeah, I always. Do.
I've seen Star Wars.
Me too.
And I actually have meant to watch Blade Runner about 16 times. Haven't done it yet, but
Right.
from everything that I've heard,
That's gonna
that's your movie. Yeah.
That
Okay.
wins visual effects.
All right. I've only seen...
Did you do the odds?
I can judge these based
two
on
of
the
those movies.
trailers.
I did not do the odds. I can do that, though.
Then
But
edit that out.
I can look that up pretty quick.
The visual effects in the trailer were spectacular. So
Yeah, I wanted to go back and watch Blade Runner, the original, and I'm lazy.
I've never seen Blade Runner.
So I wanted to watch that first and
have.
then watch the second one. But I have watched it. I just don't remember as much.
Yeah, it's been a long time
Is
since
it
It's been a
supposed
long
to
time,
be
yeah.
a sequel, I assume?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Blade
Harrison
Runner
Ford even
original.
pops up, I
supposed to
guess.
be like one of the best science fiction movies of all time.
yeah,
But I don't remember.
I don't remember it that
I saw
well.
this got
actually.
it's got a little bit of like I mean people liked it. It had like it wasn't just a loud summer movie. It had some people
Right.
critical
Yeah,
acclaim.
right. Yeah.
It's one of the few movies from the summer which, like I said, I kind of sat out the summer, and it's one of the few
Yeah.
that I'm like, I kind of want to go back and catch that. Like, I don't have the tremendous urge to go back
Sure.
and catch War of the Planet of the Apes.
So
That's
it
not.
You gotta, like I thought there was a little sense it may Mad Max. It may sneak into some other
Right.
categories.
Mad Max. So speaking as a normal person and not knowing movies as well as you guys, I have seen.
He's giving us far too much credit.
I
I've
love it.
seen Last
Keep doing
Jedi and I've seen Galaxy Volume 2. And I would say Last Jedi on this one. Because Galaxy Volume 2 I did not care for. But if you've heard Blade Runner 2049, then I get that too.
Visual
Now-
effects is tough because I don't know.
It's really hard, yeah.
I don't know what is difficult
actually,
to do.
I take it because I've heard someone,
You know?
someone who really knew, like said, War of the Planet of the Apes. If that loses, that's a travesty. So
Like a perfect example
But I don't know.
is
I
like
don't really
when I
know.
saw Avatar the first time. I remember thinking like, "Oh, this is amazing what they've done here."
Right.
I could tell the difference. Like without seeing them, I have no idea if
yeah, that's true.
but you know what? When they show clips of the nominees,
Sure.
and I see that ape riding that horse, I think that can't win. So War of the Planet.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
It's
Fair
out.
enough.
It's out.
It looks like a CGI
we're
ape
very
on a CGI horse.
Anti-ape on this podcast. Costume design. We have Beauty and the Beast, Darkest Hour, Phantom Thread, Shape of Water, and Victoria and Abdul.
I've seen 3 of those, actually.
What was the first one you said?
Beauty and the Beast.
Yeah,
haven't
I've
seen
seen
that
3. I haven't seen Beauty and the Beast or Victoria and Abdul.
Same. Yeah, same.
This one's weird because this is one where like Darkest Hour would be a strong candidate because it's a
Period piece.
period
right.
piece.
That being said,
But
though,
Phantom
Phantom
Thread's
Thread
about-
it's about clothing. It's about wardrobe, and everything about that. I mean, Paul Thomas Anderson is meticulous
Sure.
in everything, and,
Plus,
and
the
you could,
most method of all method actors is
Right.
your seamstress.
right. So, I mean, I feel like that one should have a chance. On top of which, obviously, it has a lot of support because it has other nominations. I was actually surprised, and we'll probably get into this, at the support that Phantom Thread got because it didn't have a lot of momentum
Right.
in the other award shows. So I feel like the Academy likes that movie more than a lot of people.
Yeah.
And I say a lot of people. I loved it. But I feel like the Academy likes that more than a lot of the other award shows.
Shape of Water. I don't remember there being any costume design.
No, she was naked in a lot of that movie, actually.
Was
So,
there? I mean,
you know,
like the people at the I mean, it just
it doesn't strike me
normal
as a
clothing.
Yeah, it's just
Yeah, I think I'd give the edge to Darkest Hour. I really like Darkest Hour.
Yeah, I feel like they're going to go Phantom
they
Thread.
nailed kind of they probably will.
Yeah.
And that would make sense here.
Darkest Hour is going to get the makeup for the Gary Oldman, but you know.
Oh yeah, that maybe once.
Yeah, because somehow Shape of Water didn't get anything for makeup effects.
Oh really?
Yeah, which is like Doug Jones dressed up as a weird amphibious creature, but no, we're not gonna notice that.
Yeah. So, and I guess Phantom Thread was a period piece too.
Yeah, it was. And like I said, I just feel like the Academy really likes Paul
Sure.
Thomas Anderson.
Oh, for sure.
Sure. Okay. Makeup and hair. We have Darkest Hour, Victoria and Abdul, and Wonder.
That's got to be Darkest Hour.
Yeah, I would think so.
They turned Gary Oldman into Winston Churchill.
And they legitimately turned him into
Yeah.
Winston. I mean, he looked like Winston Churchill. It was
That dude
uncanny.
legit.
Is unrecognizable in every role. He's crazy.
He does transform. I remember the first time I saw True Romance, where he plays the
I forgot
pimp.
He was in that.
Yeah, where he plays Drexel, the pimp. And oh my God, like I remember the first time I watched that, I was like, I went back and was looking at the credits, and I was like, that's Gary Oldman? Are you shitting me?
Wow.
I mean, he's fan. I mean, yeah, he's
Yeah.
a chameleon, but they turned him into Winston Churchill and did a great job. I will go on record protesting The Shape of Water is not nominated for this category, though.
Sure.
I mean, not so
guess,
much
are
the
they-
hair
well,
side,
maybe
but the
that's-
makeup was pretty
So
impressive.
then maybe that's what the Academy's doing. Maybe they're giving that as costume.
Maybe,
Maybe.
I guess.
In which case,
That feels a
would
little-
bring it into the question then.
Yeah, that feels a
We
little
have to
bass
count the
backward to me, though. But you know,
amphibious-
yeah,
Yeah,
I don't know. That feels a little. I don't know.
But yeah, Darkest Hour would. I can't imagine it loses this.
Okay.
I'll get on board with that.
Sure. Original song, Mighty River from Mudbound, Mary J. Blige. Mystery of Love from Call Me By Your Name, Sufjan Stevens. Remember Me from Coco, Kristen Anderson Lopez, Robert Lopez. Stand Up for Something from Marshall, Diane Warren and Common. This Is Me from Greatest Showman, Benji Pasek, hopefully, and Justin Paul.
Yeah, this is one where last year we knew all the songs.
I don't know any
Yeah.
of them.
I don't either.
I've seen two of the movies, and I
yeah.
couldn't tell you which song, what the
I
songs
don't
were.
remember Mudbound having an original song.
I don't remember that either, but I barely remembered having
But it's
Mary J. Blige.
so maybe that's just enough, right?
I feel
Did
like
she sing that song?
Apparently, yeah.
I barely remember her being in the movie. So
Man,
no, I feel like I do feel like The Greatest Showman is the kind of movie where
Sure.
that wins
I
this
have
type
no
of an
idea.
award. But yeah, I know nothing.
I would be pretending.
I am pretending.
Sure. Well,
I don't remember that song.
That's,
in Call
that's
Me
what
By Your
we're all
Name
doing.
either.
We're all pretending.
No, I don't remember that in Call
Is
Me By
that
Your Name
the?
either. I don't know.
I don't either.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So your best guess is
I'm just gonna go out on a limb and say
I
The
have
Greatest
to-
Showman feels like the kind of movie that would get this award.
And I'm going to say Coco because it's.
Well, they like the
Pixar.
Pixar stuff.
sure.
Yeah, they do
so
like
you're
the
saying
Pixar.
Remember Me. You're saying This Is Me.
And
Okay.
both of us are doing it from a
So-
completely uninformed place.
Exactly.
So which means you're both probably wrong. Okay. Original score: Dunkirk, Hans Zimmer. Phantom Thread, Johnny Greenwood. The Shape of Water, Alexandre Desplat. Star Wars: The Last Jedi, John Williams. 3 Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri, Carter Burwell.
The funny thing is I tend to only notice a score in a movie if it is exceptionally good or exceptionally bad. And everything else just kind of floats by under the radar for me.
This worries me like we're going to go completely opposite here.
I don't know if we will. Well, the only one that I really remember standing out to me of the things that you just listed is Johnny Greenwood's score in Phantom Thread. And it sounded like the work that he does with Paul Thomas Anderson is very dissonant. It's very, but it fits the story, and it helps. I mean, Paul Thomas Anderson legitimately uses that to help tell the story. And for that reason, it stands out to me as both being a good score, but also being something that truly supports the film. So I personally, I got to get behind that one.
And that'll probably win. Mm-hmm. But I loved the ticking clock, Dunkirk, constant ticking clock, and then stops when it's over, kind of thing. I something about it added to the kind of the intensity of the whole thing.
I don't disagree with that at all.
I loved it.
And I will say, I did
made a score out of a ticking clock.
I did not look at this category before we came here. So I didn't know what was coming next. He said Dunkirk. I'm like, oh, cool, that was nominated. What was next? But when he said Dunkirk, I thought, oh, you know what? I didn't like Dunkirk very much, but I did like that. I did like the way that they used the score and the sound. Now, whether they would consider a ticking clock score or sound design is a different question. But it was
definitely neat.
No, yeah, it was cool what they did.
Over everything.
It did, yeah. And I will say I did like that. It was one of the few things I liked about Dunkirk.
But this does seem like one of those where Phantom Thread wins every year. It's always usually a kind of a nicer piece. It's not something edgy.
Right.
Like the fact that Star Wars got nominated, is it normally? It surprised me that,
probably
it's the
the original
score
that
it's
I would
always
guess.
had.
Yeah, it's John Williams. I mean, he's doing John Williams things.
So for them to all of a sudden get a nomination again is odd.
How dare you? Okay, if you love Dunkirk, which you did not, you're going to love these next 12
I was gonna say, here, I will say this. The thing about that I like, Dunkirk, I think Christopher Nolan did exactly what he wanted to do in Dunkirk. He made it feel like you were on the beach in there. And so I think he achieved exactly what he wanted to.
Yeah.
I just thought what he wanted to achieve without any context didn't work for me.
Yeah, there were kind of three perspectives that told the same story from three perspectives, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
But if you hadn't seen The Darkest Hour, you might not know what the hell was going on.
And I saw Dunkirk before I saw The Darkest Hour.
Did you?
Yeah.
I saw it after. So I just saw Dunkirk like last week, actually. I told you I sat out this summer.
All right, so
I still haven't seen Dunkirk. I regret that. Production design.
Dunkirk.
Beauty and the Beast, Blade Runner 2049, Darkest Hour, Dunkirk, Shape of Water. So what does production design mean? I mean, do you guys know what that means?
It's essentially the look of the film, how does the set look? How is the what essentially is the look of the film is a good way to put it. And
Ward typically does well in production design.
What's that?
Does Ward typically do well in production design?
At times. I honestly, I mean, to me, when I think production design, I think like a Wes Anderson movie or something like that, where they, or like everything is very specifically placed and everything else. Sure. But that doesn't mean that's what the Academy thinks. That's just where my head goes.
But in that case, Shape of Water would have a good shot here. The apartment.
I got to say,
the kind of the what I don't know what how would you describe where they work?
The lab.
The lab,
Yeah, Guillermo del Toro has a very specific look that he gives to his films, and the production design is a huge part of that. I feel like he manages to create this surreality better than just about any other director. So I'll go with you on that.
Yeah, Shape of Water. I'm in there.
Cool. Sound mixing.
I know it.
Baby Driver?
Yeah.
Blade Runner 2049, Dunkirk, Shape of Water, Star Wars Last Jedi.
Now, did you say sound mixing or sound design?
Sound mixing.
That's different. That's Baby Driver, I think of sound design more than I think of sound mixing.
Sound mixing meaning mixing the sound effects in with the
the sort of mixing everything, whereas and making it sound leveled and all of that good stuff.
So
whereas sound design is more like just like creating a soundscape.
There's also
read them again because I gave up after Baby.
Okay, sure. Baby Driver, Blade Runner 2049, Dunkirk, Shape of Water, Star Wars Last Jedi.
Yeah, I don't know. This could be one where Blade Runner would sneak in again.
Tough
You know,
one.
I could see Blade Runner or Dunkirk. You know, a lot of times you'll see war movies win something like
Sure,
this
yeah.
because again,
Because
you're
bullets and bombs. Yeah.
Whereas, but again, some of that is sound design too, because really sound design is sort of creating that soundscape, and
Yeah.
mixing is more just making
Well,
it all.
the only other sound we have is sound
appropriate.
editing, so I don't know if that's what
Sound editing and sound
Editing,
design
sound
are
design.
basically the
Okay.
same thing. Yeah.
Okay, great.
Or so I'm assuming that's the case. They used to call it
Which-
sound design.
Spoiler alert is the same.
Same nominees.
ones. So
See,
if you want to talk about both at the same time.
because I feel like
go
for sound editing, sound design, you're going to get Baby Driver.
Baby Driver.
I feel like that's hands down,
Yeah.
and it may get sound mixing too. I mean, there might be enough people in the academy that just go, yeah, both of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I feel like one of them is going to go to Dunkirk.
So you're maybe mixing Dunkirk, editing Baby Driver.
If I were to venture a guess, I'd say that. But
Because
you know, it's going to end up being exactly the opposite, and I'm going to sound like an idiot. They're going to be like, that guy makes
Because
movies. He
it's
doesn't know what the hell he's
my-
talking about.
Because it's my only opportunity. I'm taking Baby Driver both times.
Both times
Here
I
we
was
go.
secretly holding out some hope for it.
to
larger.
pull off a Best Picture.
If it had, it's like Moonlight last year. If it had
Yeah.
a better third act,
Yeah, I agree with that.
the,
Third
fair
act
enough.
is
the
sad.
final part of the movie was just a chase movie with an
Yeah.
angry villain like every other
It
movie.
needed one more cartoon.
Can I also
Yeah.
appreciate the fact that we're all like in everything else when there's the Kevin Spacey or Me Too or something like that, somebody
Right.
who's been accused, it's a big deal. Without we're just going to sweeping that under the rug on this film. We're like, we love Baby Driver. Let's just pretend like he's not there because everybody loves
Yeah.
Baby Driver.
We're not
Let's just not talk
not-
about that.
I will
We're
say,
talking about him.
I'm going to talk about some people who are in the Me Too crowd.
Yeah.
To me, I'm separating it from this.
Yeah.
I don't have, like last year, we can talk about how good Mel Gibson is.
Right.
And not want to invite him to our bar mitzvah.
Right. No, that's completely fair. That's completely. But at the same time,
absolutely
I wasn't making necessarily a statement about that.
Yeah.
I was just noting it is
Yeah.
interesting
Yeah,
because
I
I mean they
agree.
replaced
Right.
him in all the money in the world, and all these other people are getting thrown. But Baby Driver is
Sure,
just
yeah.
like, let's just what we all
Oh,
love
yeah.
that movie. Let's just all agree not to talk about that.
Yeah, sure. All right. Film editing.
Okay.
Baby Driver. Dunkirk. I, Tanya. Shape of Water. 3 Billboards.
To me, it's got to be one of the first three, and I think one of the first two, most likely. What were the first three again?
Baby Driver, Dunkirk, I, Tanya.
I, Tanya's, the way that it's edited is interesting just in the
Yeah.
sense that they have those moments where they're looking directly into the camera. They have those moments where they're cutting to away to the interviews and that sort of thing. And some of the things that they do there are,
It feels like a documentary.
yeah, there's some interesting editing that goes into that. That being said, I don't ever want to try and edit a war movie. That feels
Yeah.
hard.
This seems like Dunkirk would be tough.
Yeah, I mean that feels hard, but at the same time, Baby Driver, because so much of that edit is basically built on your soundtrack
guess
and
that's
built
true.
on that. I mean, there's both of those things. There's a difficulty level that
Yeah.
is now. I guess you could almost argue on Baby Driver too that difficulty level, a lot of it is in the way that it's shot and having to have it
Yeah.
done that way on set. And then as the edit, your job is just to not screw it up, which they didn't. To
I
their
guess
credit.
that's the thing. It's probably because the music's playing the whole time, and
Mm-hmm.
they're matching it up. I guess it would be harder to do that from a film standpoint than it would be the music standpoint.
That's more on the director than
I would think that I mean, and now you're cutting on the music in some cases, but like in the chase scene, they're changing lanes on
Yeah.
the music and that sort of
All-
thing. That's
yeah.
shooting. That's not editing. That's
and
the
the
shooting.
and the one take on foot chase.
Right.
Right.
I mean, to set
mean-
to music,
Yeah. To nail that.
like he's like literally like landing at certain parts, and it's incredible.
Yeah. And if and those things that are done in single take, that's not editing. That's shooting. That's the director, and that's impressive as hell.
Yeah.
But those moments where you're cutting on the music and that sort of thing. So I mean, but I if I were betting, I'd go with
Dunkirk?
Dunkirk. Yeah, I'd go
Yeah.
Dunkirk.
Okay. Best documentary feature.
I have seen 3 of these.
This is all Joe,
Okay.
I got.
but I'll still pick a winner.
Sure. Abacus, Small Enough to Jail, Faces, Places, Icarus, Last Men in Aleppo, and Strong Island.
I've seen 3 of these. Everything that I have heard is that Faces Places is the film to beat. It's still in theaters right now. It's not in theaters in Evansville. Therefore, I have not seen it.
What is Faces, Places about? Do you know?
I know very little about it. I know that the woman who is in it is 89 years old and is now the oldest Oscar nominee ever. And that is all that I know. She beat Christopher Plummer by a year.
Nice.
So that's what I know about that one. But I've seen Last Men in Aleppo, which is a hard movie to watch. That film, it's about the white helmets in Aleppo in Syria. They're the guys that when bombs drop, they run to where the bombs dropped and try and pull people out and rescue them. And it is harrowing to watch them pull out babies and children, and to see them trying to live their day-to-day lives with their families there and choosing to stay to help is, I mean, it's a hard film to watch. It's very well made. I really don't have anything bad to say about it. If anything, the weakness of that film is also its strength, in that it's sort of repetitive, and that these guys just keep doing it and nothing ever changes. And I think that's a strength, because you sit there and you watch it and you go, oh my God, how do you live in that? And nothing ever changes, and there's not a lot of hope there. But I thought that was an excellent film. I thought that Abacus, which is about the one bank that was prosecuted after the 2008 financial crisis. It's a little Chinese. It's in Chinatown. It's run by a Chinese family. They cater to the Chinatown crowd. They're the kind of company that, frankly, they had so little impact on any of this that they were small enough to jail, as opposed to too big to fail.
Yeah.
And so it's about the family, and they talk to all of them. Also, a really, really good story. And then Strong Island is a filmmaker telling the story of her brother's murder. And the way that the police handled it, and basically talking about race relations and that sort of thing. All good films. If I had to pick out of the three of them, I'd probably go with Last Man in Aleppo.
Yeah.
But I think Faces Places, from what I've heard, is the film to beat.
And this is one it's tough, because you look at some of the other award shows, and there's some that have won that aren't even nominated.
Yeah.
Like I Am Not Your Negro got some.
Did that get nominated last year?
I
thought
that was last year.
I thought that was last year.
Last year?
Yeah, I think that was
mind.
last year.
All right, never mind then.
But no, I mean, I wish.
Then I've really seen none.
I wish I had seen Icarus. I would have liked to have seen Icarus,
Yeah.
because it is streaming on Netflix. I just didn't get to it.
I was hoping for Jim and Andy.
That was a good one.
I thought it was
That actually was
unbelievable.
good. That actually was. You know, the other one that I saw that was on Netflix this year was Oklahoma City, which was about the Oklahoma City
McVeigh?
bombing, but it was also about. They talked about Waco, and they talked about what the hell was the thing that came before Waco? Anyway, point being, these are things that I was alive during, but I was young enough that I didn't really understand them. And watching that, I found it incredibly enlightening. It's on Netflix too. I'm basically a walking commercial right now for Netflix.
I love it.
If you go to netflix.com/Evansville Podcast, you'll get nothing.
Yeah. Do I get
File not found.
No,
Netflix? Do I get my cut yet? Do I get my kickback?
Yeah, right. Well, you check us in the mail. Cinematography. So now we're entering the big time stuff.
Yeah, this
here.
is when it starts getting.
Yeah, everybody's stop fast forwarding now. This is what you
we're
wanted.
ready. Yeah. The previous stuff was just to get you to download.
Right.
Blade Runner 2049, Darkest Hour, Dunkirk, Mudbound, Shape of Water.
Cinematography.
Cinematography. So what is cinematography different than, it's like, say, a Best Picture or a screenplay or something? Cinematography is more...
This is more how it's shot.
Yeah, how it's shot kind of thing, how it looks,
Yeah.
how the...
It's how it's shot, how it's
So remember
lit, how
a
it
few
looks.
years ago, Birdman. Have you seen Birdman?
Yeah.
Whole
The
thing,
one
single take.
constant take.
Right.
You know, like that was
Okay.
what.
So it's more of like a camera view than it is a...
Yeah,
Yeah.
It's
How does the film look?
Okay.
It's the
Okay.
look of the film.
Sure.
But not in the same way art direction is the look of the film, because that's more the sets and that sort of thing. But or production
how they
design.
decided to shoot the film.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's camera view.
And really,
Maybe.
these are all good nominees. Interestingly enough, the Mudbound, the cinematographer, is the first woman ever nominated for
really?
Best Cinematography. Mhm.
Rachel Morrison.
Yeah.
You think
First
that's
What's
are we-
Mudbound
are we
about?
Are we suggesting Mudbound is about a
black family and a white family in the South during World War II and at the end of World War II. I loved it, honestly. I thought it was
I thought Mudbound was really good.
Yeah, Mudbound was really, really good.
It's not a barrel of laughs.
No,
but that's interesting though. I'm curious. You know.
It's on Netflix.
Okay.
it's on Netflix.
good.
It's actually
great.
I think it might be the first Netflix
It's
film to
Netflix
be up.
ever.
It is
not
a
even,
Netflix
not
movie.
even big screen release.
Yeah, it's a Netflix film.
Okay.
It's an excellent.
They
excellent
changed
film.
because of Mudbound and something else. They changed the
rules.
Yeah, there was like it went to Cannes.
Yeah.
And won an award or something. And now Cannes no longer takes movies that aren't going big screen release.
Really?
I forget what the other one was though. There's another one that got some love. That
Is this
was
probably an
Netflix.
Amazon movie? Because
No, this is it's just straight up a Netflix movie.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's
So
straight up a Netflix
straight
movie.
Netflix. Okay.
Amazon did The Big Sick this year, which got largely shut out of things.
We'll
but-
get to them.
Yeah,
But yeah, cinematography. None of them really stick out. I guess.
none of them do because kind of they all do. I mean, they're all really. I mean, again, as much as I didn't like the story behind Dunkirk, it's a pretty movie.
Yeah, it looks good.
It really is.
Well
It is
done.
a very good looking film. So I wouldn't have any issue there.
Nolan does well too in this regard. Usually,
He
in all
does.
his movies.
Yeah, he does. I'm actually a little bit surprised not to see Anderson, Paul Thomas Anderson's film, but just because they like him so much. But
Yeah.
what was this? We had those two. We had
Was Blade
Blade
Runner-
Runner. We had Shape of Water. And what was the other one?
Darkest Hour, Dunkirk, Mudbound.
Yeah, Darkest Hour doesn't
Yeah.
seem to fit here much.
No, I don't feel like it fits in either.
Yeah, Dunkirk's good.
I feel like Dunkirk's
I feel like
probably
we're higher
your winner.
on Dunkirk than I expected when we got here today so far.
Yeah, I'm. Well,
We've
the
got
thing
it
is,
winning technical things.
I don't love the story of it, but it's very well made.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I would go with that too.
All right.
Even though I like Dunkirk more than he did.
Apparently.
Yeah.
It's a low bar.
Original screenplay. I'm sorry.
I was just gonna say
Oh.
I admire things about Dunkirk. I just didn't
Sure.
like Dunkirk.
Perfect. That's great. Okay.
So original screenplay.
Original
Oh,
screenplay.
my God.
Yeah.
I have strong opinions on this one,
There's an obvious winner.
This
though.
was. Is it obvious? Because
I think so.
Yeah.
It's
and that's where my strong opinions lie. I'm gonna fall right in
Well-
line on this one.
okay. We have The Big Sick, Get Out, Lady Bird, Shape of Water, 3 Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri.
First four can start drinking early, as far as I'm concerned. They're not going to the stage. It's gonna be 3 Billboards.
Really?
Yeah,
Wow.
absolutely.
I don't know.
It is the best written film of the year.
Oh.
I'll put it. I'll put it up for original and adapted. It's McDonough's script is so smart,
And
that
you know, so here's the thing about 3 Billboards. My favorite movie ever is Martin McDonagh. In Bruges.
In Bruges.
My favorite movie ever. So I wanted to really love it. Mm-hmm. And now, granted, the best thing about it was the writing.
yeah.
There was things I didn't love about the movie, but I wanted to like the movie more. But the writing was good, the script was good, acting was good. So I can't disagree with it. I did not expect when I said there's an obvious winner, I meant adapted. Sorry.
Oh, okay.
Original's the one that's up for grabs because Get Out and Lady Bird have some fans too.
They do both have some fans. I think that this is where McDonagh gets his win in a
Yeah.
big way. I think that Woody Harrelson's character is one of the best written characters I've seen in a long time.
I agree with you.
He's an incredibly well written character,
Yeah.
and I think that his best supporting, he's getting a little almost underrated for what he did in that
Yeah,
film.
because the other characters. I'm sorry.
They're much showier.
Yeah.
They're much showier. I mean, Sam Rockwell's arc at the end,
Probably gonna win.
and I'll tell you what I love, and I don't want to give too much away,
Sure.
but the scene in the bar with Sam Rockwell at the end, when I realized what he was doing, when he went and picked that fight, and you saw him start scratching at the guy,
Yeah.
I was like, oh my god! I mean, it's just like that's writing. I mean,
Yeah.
that's the writer, and those things, you know, Woody's character and the way that whether he's on screen or off screen, he's driving all of the action in the film. I love that script. I think it's a brilliant script.
I think I would lean Greta Gerwig.
You think so? See,
think
to
I
me,
would.
Lady Bird, and we'll get into this in Best Picture, but
Sure.
I feel like Lady Bird is a very well made, but pretty typical coming of age story.
I don't know.
I mean, it's good. Don't get me wrong. I like it. I think it's good. I think it's well made. I think the
think-
acting's terrific, but I don't think there's anything special
what
about the
made
story.
it different to me was how, and some of this could be more directing than writing, but they hit on so much stuff in such a short amount of time that most of the times when you're watching a movie that does that, you feel like
It's scattered.
It got away from itself. But
Right.
She seemed to keep it all compact and literally go through a year. And it seems like in 30 minutes.
Yeah, no, it's
Remember,
very
that movie
focused.
seemed so fast.
Yeah, it's a very focused
because I was so
film.
entertained and it was great. And I just I thought she nailed kind of that era and life and maybe you're right. Maybe that's more directing. Maybe it's more.
Well, I mean, I think that is writing.
Saoirse Ronan. I mean, she did a really good
She
job.
was really good. I do think that some of that is writing, and I don't disagree
Yeah.
with you. It's a very good, compact,
But you're-
well put
yeah,
together film.
I guess
but
if 3 Billboards has any merit, it'd be on his writing.
well, and some of the acting, but you know,
Yeah, you're right.
Though
They'll have one.
I'm gonna fight the clear winner on one of those though. Actually, I'm going to fight both clear
I
winners.
didn't read what you put out today.
Oh, the
specifically
best actors?
so
Yeah.
we could have that argument.
Where did you put that out on?
It's joewatkinson.com. I've started writing about film. I realized how much I missed writing about film from my days at the Courier and Press, and started doing it again.
I'm torn here because you might be right, but I'm going to stick with Lady Bird.
You're sticking with Lady Bird?
See, as an outsider, like all I hear about is Get Out and how wonderful that is on like the
No, Get Out's
intricacies
great.
of the writing and like
I think he nailed it.
all the stuff.
did.
But
I
I don't
agree
know
with
that
that.
he'll win.
Okay.
I agree with all of the things you just said.
Yeah, like it was
It was sneaky good.
There's like a symbolism,
but like
and
yeah,
everything
he did,
that's
and
in
you
there.
know what? It was tremendously subtle in that like oh my god, that's
Like
really clever. that he
almost
did that.
more subtle than
Sure.
Yeah.
But not all. I don't, and that's another thing where I don't know what to give him credit on being a good director, or credit on what's a good writing. It's so similar to Lady Bird.
Sure. Okay.
Where I mean,
I think it's a little bit of both in his case.
So is it hurting him on both sides then, or
I guess
is
it could. Potentially.
I think part of it is that the film came out as early as it did.
Yeah.
I think part of it is that it was very clever.
Yeah.
In a lot of ways, it really was very clever. The way that he did it, he did the deconstructing of sort of race relations and that sort of thing is brilliantly well done. I think that the film has, to some extent, I don't want to say been overpraised, but I do think that it's gotten some nominations that I'm not in love with it getting.
Interesting.
but it's definitely those three.
Yeah.
Yeah,
The other two, what were the other two? Even Big Six out.
yeah. No,
You don't like Kamal?
No, I don't dislike
Johnny?
it. It was an entertaining movie.
Yeah.
It was a nice story.
Okay.
That's
seen
the
it, so
one where like he was talking about Lady Bird. I've seen Big Sick before.
I have
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay. Sure.
And like I said, I
Big
still
Sick comes out every year.
Yeah, and I feel like I said, I feel that way about Lady Bird, but I will say it was an exceptionally well-made version
Yeah.
of that
I'm
film.
saying
could
Shape
be.
of Water screenplay.
Yeah, Shape
not
of
a
Water is
screenplay
going to
film.
win other. Yeah, no, it's
not
going
a
to win other
screenplay film.
awards, but that's not.
That's not the one.
Yeah, it's not a screenplay film.
Gosh, I just love Lady Bird so much. I feel like it's going to be. This is last year's Manchester by the Sea for me.
It's going to be that movie that doesn't
where
win anything though.
I feel like I can't get away from it.
I feel like, but I do feel like it's going to be the movie. You know, there's always that one that gets a bunch of nominations, then walks away empty-handed. I feel like that's Lady Bird this year.
Okay.
Yeah, gosh, you might be right, and it hurts. It hurts.
I liked it too.
I'm going to stick with it even when it hurts me.
All right. Adapted screenplay: Call Me by Your Name, Disaster Artist, Logan, Molly's Game, Mudbound.
I'm going to just take a moment and appreciate the fact that Logan was nominated in this category.
Yeah, superhero movie for
I mean,
writing.
a superhero movie nominated for writing and deserved.
So
I mean,
good.
I
So
love
good.
that
Now
film.
I have not seen it.
It is a terrific film, and
But for me to see it, I have to see 6 others.
No,
No,
you
you
don't.
don't.
You really don't.
no, you
really
don't.
I'm just-
And
you
I,
just
you know,
watch one.
here's
I'll sum up.
here's the telling thing about Logan for me. I watched that on my Christmas break. I rented it. I was very far behind the curve because I sat the summer out, and I went downstairs late in the evening to turn it on, and my wife came down to watch, and she said, "I'm not really going to watch this with you. I'm just going to sit on the couch, and when I start getting tired, I'll go to bed." 2.5 hours later, she's still sitting there with her eyes open, watching the very end of the film.
Yeah.
It was a really well-made film.
Yep.
I love the fact that they made no pretense right off the bat that this was going to be anything other than an R-rated movie.
Right.
That first scene, the first scene of the movie, I'm like, well, they pissed away the PG-13 like that.
They're in right away.
Yep. It's no, it was. I appreciate the fact that the Academy nominated it. I think it's a great film. I think it's one of the better. It's a great superhero film because it doesn't feel like a superhero film.
Yeah,
It's just a really
exactly,
good
yeah.
movie.
Yeah.
But this is one where you can take...
It's not going to
you
win. I
can
just
take-
wanted to appreciate that.
Yeah, you can take the house. Call Me by Your Name is winning this.
I would agree that it is, though.
Not whether it should, it just will.
Yeah, I think that the Disaster Artist would have given it a run for its money, but the Academy has decided that James Franco is,
Yeah, wrong time.
Poison?
wrong time. Yeah, so he's
Hashtag me too.
Yeah. Yep.
and I'm also going to take a moment to just because I like his work. The most fun movie in this category, Molly's Game.
Haven't seen it.
Really enjoyed it.
So
Now,
that's Aaron Sorkin.
yeah, it's incredibly flawed, especially in like the
Sorkin's
last
awesome.
quarter. Yeah, the last quarter of the film has more than its fair share of flaws, but for the first hour of that movie, I thought that was going to be my favorite movie of the year. The first hour of that movie is fantastic. The 5-minute cold open, if they gave an Academy Award for best film opening, it would win for the last 10 years running. I mean, the first 5 minutes of that film, I want to just stand up and just slow clap. So
Yeah, Disaster Artist was it was really fun to watch.
Yeah, it was.
And I thought they did a good job with it, but really, there was not like I know when you do an adapted screenplay, it's one thing to take a story that exists and then make it a movie screenplay. It felt like they just literally recreated what actually happened.
Yeah, it did.
Yeah.
So it didn't feel like it was all that.
But it was based on a book.
To use an
though,
Oscar
right?
word, it wasn't all that brave. It was just sort of, here's what happened. Let's do it. I don't think they went and.
If anything, the
Took
direction
some
was better
liberty.
because they did such a good job of recreating, the sets and everything else.
Even though that was awesome, I really liked Disaster Artist. But yeah, no, Call Me by Your Name, and I loved it. So
Yeah.
I loved Call Me by Your Name.
You liked it a lot more than I did, but I agree with you. It's going to win.
This
Hands
isn't
down.
a chance for them to say Disaster Artist wasn't nominated later, so we're going to give them the win here.
Not here.
I don't think they're going to do
Because
that.
the one place it had a chance to win, we'll talk about it later.
It's
but-
also the one place Call Me by Your Name's going to win.
Yeah, well.
It's not going to win anything else. It's not going to win anything else.
Hang on. Just hold on.
All right.
But anyway.
We can argue about the merits of it, but it's still not going to win anywhere
Sure.
else.
But yeah, Call Me by Your Name wins here easy.
Okay. Are we up on animated features?
I've seen one.
I don't even know what they are.
Okay, I'll go through them. If we don't know any,
Sure.
we'll guess or
Well, we know what's going to win.
Coco.
Yeah.
So I haven't seen any
That's
of these
legit.
either. Boss Baby, Breadwinner, Coco, Ferdinand, Loving Vincent.
Yeah, Coco wins.
Coco's going to win.
But I've only seen Boss Baby.
Me too, because I have kids and they watch it a lot.
I refuse to watch Boss Baby because it looked very dumb. Okay,
But it's Oscar nominated.
but like
It's not
Coco's looks. I will watch Coco.
Now,
Yeah, I need to see that at some point.
there's
I
a
will
few
watch that.
people who have actually wanted more for Coco.
Yeah, I
Like
have a
Best Picture nom.
I have
really,
a friend
I
of
haven't
mine.
seen it, which is amazing. I have an 8-year-old and a 6-year-old, and I haven't
I
seen
haven't
Coco.
seen it either.
I have a Latino friend, and he said Coco nailed it. So
I thought he was actually like
Approval.
saying that, like, I have an 8-year-old and a 6-year-old. Yeah, well, I have a Latino friend.
yeah, well, I have one of those too. So no, but he's like Coco was awesome.
Yeah,
so
Coco-
I need to watch it.
I think
So,
it's funny. Right after I said the biggest bet your house for Call Me by Your Name, and then the next one's even more for Runaway.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's really. Yeah, don't worry about it. That's the reason.
Why did they
I
nominate
couldn't-
other people?
I couldn't find odds on that one, so I
Why
do
did
have
they-
odds on a few of these.
Why did they even
actually.
nominate other
No.
people?
No, I don't know.
Okay, director.
Okay.
Already to
Already,
director?
yeah, we're going to do a director.
Man.
We're flying
tough.
I
tonight.
know, man.
He knows we're hungry.
Yeah, you guys are hungry. Director. Dunkirk, Christopher Nolan.
Should we do like a? Okay, go ahead. Do them
No,
all.
we don't
Did you
do
want a
any-
drum roll first?
I don't want any kind of post production.
No, I meant like run through each one, then we kind of talk about it and then pick a winner, or do we want to do that for picture? or-
It's your show, guys.
No, just
So
go ahead and
whatever
give
you
it
gotta
all
do.
to us.
Go ahead and run them all.
Yeah.
All right, Dunkirk, Christopher Nolan. Get Out, Jordan Peele. Lady Bird, Greta Gerwig. Phantom Thread, Thomas Anderson. The Shape of Water, Guillermo del Toro. And I can give you odds if you would like.
This is really neat because you
Don't
have
hit 'em.
3 like great directors, and you have 2 their very first time.
There's one very big odds winner. Oh, well. Let's
Oh,
say it later.
yeah. I mean,
No,
I
the
can tell you who's gonna win
the
this,
heavy
hands down.
favorite is Guillermo del Toro.
Yeah.
And I am for my that's who I would pick as well.
Yeah.
He made a movie that shouldn't had no business being any good.
Yes.
That movie should have been laughed at, and yet it works.
Well, and that's the
It's
thing.
perfect.
When people found out, when I talk to people about this and I talk about, the premise or they see the preview, they're like, yeah, that looks dumb. I'm like, right. I would feel that way if it were directed by anyone
Yeah.
except for Guillermo del Toro, because that is the kind of movie. I mean, when he did Pan's Labyrinth,
Sure.
he does that surrealistic world so well.
I thought I was going to despise it.
Yeah.
It just did not seem like something I would enjoy. And by the end of it, I'm like, I'm all in.
Yeah.
I totally bought it.
Yeah, I fully expected to like it.
That's-
Only because if you had said,
Yeah.
this same movie came out directed by Quentin Tarantino, I'd be like, great, everybody have a good time watching that. I love Tarantino, but enjoy.
Sure.
But if it's Del Toro, that's going to be his movie.
Yeah, I think he runs away with this too.
I have no problem with Nolan being nominated for this as well. By the
I'm
way,
really happy Gerwig and Peele got nominated. So Get Out and Lady Bird. It's good for. I mean, that's unbelievable for these two to have their first movie to get in over Spielberg and some other. I mean, it was tremendous.
Now-
this is one where I really wanted Edgar Wright to show up. I wanted Edgar Wright.
I would have been fine with Edgar Wright. The one that I actually wouldn't have minded seeing show up was Dee Reese for Mudbound.
Oh,
That was a very
Yeah.
very well made film.
Yeah, it was.
I wouldn't have minded that one either. But
Yeah, I'm trying to think who I could have lived without of the ones nominated.
and that's the thing. I mean, I have a partiality toward Paul Thomas Anderson, even though,
Yeah.
frankly, I was surprised when he was nominated.
Yeah.
But I do.
This wasn't my favorite
I do
Paul
like
Thomas
him.
Anderson.
I liked it more than I thought I was going to. It snuck up on me at the end.
You're right, I did.
It snuck
By
up
the
on
end,
me.
I was like, oh,
Yeah.
it got better.
Yeah, it snuck up on me a little bit.
It was very boring, though.
There were moments where it was, but
thought it
by
was
the
gonna-
end,
yeah.
like I said, they earned all of them at
I mean,
the
it
end. I
wasn't
felt
like the post boring, but it was boring.
yeah, I liked the
I
post.
figured you did.
But I'm also a journalism guy, so,
Sure.
you know.
But yeah, so I think it wins. I don't even know who I would pick for second.
Out of
Jordan
that
Peele?
group, I'd probably pick Nolan.
Really?
Honestly, even though, again, didn't love Dunkirk, but it's very well made.
Yeah.
The odds say Nolan is second.
Yeah, they do.
So
Who the odds say third?
Can I drop these mics? Is that a thing I can do?
Lady Bird, Greta Gerwig,
Yeah, that would be good.
Jordan Peele.
It's funny because I was arguing heavy for Lady Bird and writing,
Fourth.
saying that directing was, but
But I don't know that it is a director's.
it's not.
It doesn't feel like a directing
It's kind
film.
of stuck in that world of everyone likes this the most, so it may get some votes because everyone likes it. Mm-hmm. But nothing stands out as it has to win this,
Yeah.
and so it may win nothing.
Well, and it's kind of
It may win nothing but Best Picture, which is amazing. Not that it will. I'm just saying because it's
Best
like
Picture feels pretty out there, pretty wide
well,
open
because
right
of
now.
the way the voting goes, which we'll
Yeah.
talk about in a minute.
But the interesting thing is, I mean, to me though, it's not a director film
Sure,
as much
I
as
agree.
I mean, and you look
I
at like
totally agree.
I have this conversation with a guy that I work with a lot. Like Spotlight a couple years ago. The director didn't even get nominated, and the
Right.
film won Best Picture because it's not a director film; it's a script film, it's a writer
Right.
film.
But but you're right. The pacing of it, and I'm glad she got nominated. I am. I was really happy with that. But yeah, I think
Guillermo del Toro's going to win.
Guillermo del Toro should win.
Yeah,
God.
it's cute that they nominated other people, but
Shout out to Edgar Wright. I'd have had you in there, buddy.
and Dee Reese, come on.
Yeah, you're welcome anytime on the podcast.
Yeah,
Supporting actress: Mary J. Blige, Mudbound;
we're going to talk about that.
Allison Janney, I, Tonya; Leslie Manville, Phantom Thread; Laurie Metcalf, Lady Bird; Octavia Spencer, Shape of Water.
Yeah, I guess this could be the Lady Bird win
It could be.
because she. Yeah, I'm not
Could be.
saying I'd vote for her, but I forgot she's heavy favored.
No, not anymore.
Is it? It's between her and
It's between her and Allison
Janney.
Janney. Yeah, the other three are
I would
like,
pick
hey,
Allison.
thanks for coming, guys.
Yeah,
you
I would
know.
pick Allison Janney here though.
She was very good. I think
Oh,
that
my
the other
goodness.
three are just like, thanks for coming.
Yeah.
And this feels like a really shallow category to me in terms of
Yeah,
depth
I
of
never
character.
watched. I never thought Octavia Spencer would get in there.
No, and again, I'm not saying she's bad in it.
No.
But there's not much to do.
No.
She didn't do a whole lot. And I feel the same way about Mary J. Blige. I mean, at the end of watching that film, I was like, her?
Yeah,
She was in that?
Yeah.
Because there were, I love that movie. There were actors and characters in it who absolutely registered to me. She wasn't one
And
of
there
them.
were better supporting actresses out there that even of color. That, like I would have
Yeah.
taken the I can't think of her name, but the maid for Get Out.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
she was
she
good.
was
She was good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
No,
She
no,
was
no,
very-
no, 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 no.
yeah.
Also, I just watched, and I don't know if
she
it would
was
be
great.
considered a lead or supporting, but the woman that they plucked out of obscurity for the Florida Project, that played the mom,
That's my biggest.
she
yeah.
was good in it, though. She was good in it.
I can't believe you called me out. I was gonna.
Wow.
I was hoping to avoid that category. I was gonna
Oh,
go to the
boy.
bathroom during best actor.
Here we go.
Oh, best supporting actor, you mean?
yeah. But no, I think it comes down to which side are you going on?
On this one,
Allison
it's
Janney?
Allison Janney's going to win. I think
I
she's
agree.
got all the momentum. I think they were both great.
She deserves it.
Yeah,
She was fantastic.
and to be fair, so was Laurie Metcalf. I thought they were
Oh, sure.
both excellent.
And
in
it's
their
funny
movies.
because it's kind of a similar role, and it's kind
Yeah,
of
they're
tough
both-
mother, and then
it's-
obviously in different ways.
right. It's shitty mom versus awful human being mom.
Well, it's more like
Or overprotective mom versus
Overprotective-
shitty mom. Yeah, is really what it comes down to.
Yeah.
Overprotective mom versus shitty mom.
Yeah.
And shitty mom wins. So,
yeah, the shittiest mom ever. Was.
oh my God, yeah.
All right. Yeah, Allison Janney's the Vegas favorite as well.
Yeah. I think she'll win, but I mean, Laurie
And
Metcalf.
rightfully so.
yeah,
She
sure.
was awesome and didn't miss a note. She had to be tough and just killed it. It
Yeah.
was great. Even like that moment where she tried to like
for
which
like
obviously-
a half a second. Yep. No, she was.
You're kind of thinking like, huh, and then it turns out, you.
Yeah, no, she was very, very good.
Yeah.
And then, like I said, so was Laurie Metcalf. I will have no problem with either one of them
Yeah,
winning.
either one.
All right. Supporting actor: Willem Dafoe, Florida Project.
Wait, Corey's got to go pee now, right?
Woody Harrelson, Three Billboards; Richard Jenkins, Shape of Water; Christopher Plummer, All the Money in the World. Sam Rockwell, 3 Billboards.
Of all of these
Plumber's
major
out.
categories, the only one I haven't seen is All the Money in the World.
And I have not
seen.
I haven't
Plumber
seen
in it.
All the Money in the World, and I haven't seen.
But he's not
Florida
going to win. Now, here's the thing though, and I actually wrote this on the blog jwatkinson.com. Is that good? That's very subtle.
It's
right?
perfect.
It's very subtle.
I like it.
But I actually wrote this. I think if there is a surprise here, it might be Plumber.
No.
And the reason that I think that
No,
is
I
that
don't think he's got
if
a
the
real
Academy in
chance.
any way wants to give a little nod to the Me Too movement, this is where they do it because he's the guy that replaced Kevin Spacey.
Interesting.
I'm not saying it will happen.
Yeah.
I'm saying if there's an upset, that's what I think it might be. I don't think there will be an upset.
I think this is.
But if there is.
Here I'll go first, so that way you can rail against it.
Sure.
Because I know what you're going to say.
Sure.
Kind of. I saw you hint at it. Sam Rockwell wins this.
Yeah, he's going to win.
He wins it, and I think, even though I loved Woody Harrelson's character in three Billboards, I think Sam Rockwell was better.
Fair. I don't agree.
I was leading you to
And
that.
I have no knock on
And
Sam
I
Rockwell.
say that, by the way, knowing it actually pains me. I want to see the Florida Project so much, and I haven't seen it yet.
You haven't seen it yet? No. Willem Dafoe is excellent in it.
Yeah.
It's funny because there's a moment about a half an hour into the film, because up to then he's just the landlord. And sometimes he has to yell at people, and sometimes he has to do this. But there's a moment where he sees an old man wander in and start talking to the kids that are staying in the hotel. And he goes over and basically pulls this guy away. And, he doesn't outright accuse him of, you're a child molester. But that's what he's hinting at. And he's like, get the hell out of here. And that moment, the way he plays that scene is so beautiful and perfect. And it just launches this
Got him
performance.
nominated.
Yeah, and that moment
Yeah.
it launched the performance. It's a great
I see.
performance. Woody to me was the linchpin for everything in Three Billboards.
Yeah.
Sam Rockwell's character doesn't work if you don't respect Woody as much as he does, because his whole arc is dependent on
Yeah.
on Woody. I just feel like it's more subtle. Sam Rockwell got to show off, and he got the big
Yeah.
arc and all this stuff, and Woody got the more subtle performance, and people don't tend to notice those performances.
Yeah. Which is kind of funny because last year I'm talking about Casey Affleck.
Right, which is like
How
the most
great he
subtle
is at
thing
being
ever.
subtle. Yeah.
But Woody's
And
the same
now-
way. And again,
yeah.
so much of the action in that movie is driven by his words and things that he does and things that he says, whether
Yeah.
he's on screen or off, that I feel like the movie doesn't work without him.
Sure.
And he's the one guy that didn't get to, Frances McDormand gets to swear and kick kids in the crotch,
Yeah.
and Sam Rockwell gets to be racist and horrible and
Yeah.
a terrible cop. And Woody's just got to be a normal guy and anchor the film. And I think he did an amazing job at that.
Yeah, Woody was great.
But you're right, Sam Rockwell's going to win.
It's tough. I feel like I can't decide if it's tougher to be Woody, which is sort of. I feel like it's hard to be Sam Rockwell in this movie, unless you're Sam Rockwell, which he plays this kind of guy a lot.
Right.
But
yeah. You just talked him out of being out of a stretch there. That's good.
I remember being really fascinated because you.
But also the first 90 minutes, Sam Rockwell, admit it, an hour and a half of the movie, you're like, why the hell is anybody talking about his performance? Because he's a pretty flat character up until the last 30 minutes.
Yeah,
And it's a hell of an arc in the last 30 minutes. Don't get me wrong, but they're both great. I
felt like it was really impressive that he made me really hate him
yeah,
and sort of somehow love him.
yeah,
And I feel like I don't know where it came from. It just happened.
it was the bar scene. It's
Yeah,
Martin
yeah,
McDonagh.
Yeah, I love Martin. I wanted to love this movie so much.
Yeah, but that was good writing. I mean,
Yeah.
and Rockwell plays it great. I'm not questioning that by any stretch. I mean, they're both terrific.
But yeah, he wins.
Yeah, he's gonna win.
Yeah.
He's gonna walk away with it. Who was the other one that we didn't talk about?
We didn't talk. Well, there's Willem Dafoe. would be-
Richard Jenkins.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and again, he's very good in
He
it.
did
But
okay.
yeah, he's
I've liked Richard Jenkins way more in other movies.
one of those guys that I like him in everything he does. I've loved him. I mean,
Yeah.
I loved him in 6 Feet Under when he
I
was
remember
the dead
kind
dad.
of when he was in for The Visitor, like really
Yeah.
pushing for him. Like I loved him.
Yeah, and he's good in this, but he's not.
Yeah,
he's not at that level.
Yeah. Sam Rockwell is Vegas' favorite as
Yeah.
well.
Who do they have second?
Uh,
Willem Dafoe.
yeah.
I think so,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Woody Harrelson is the.
I watched the Florida
last.
Project. I watched the Florida Project like 3 days ago, like the night before I ran the column about Best Supporting Actor.
Yeah.
I think I watched the Florida Project the night before that.
Is it on Amazon?
No, it's on DVD now though. So yeah,
Oh, it
you
is?
can rent it on Amazon.
Oh, okay.
All right. Best Actress.
All right.
Sally Hawkins, Shape of Water. Frances McDormand, 3 Billboards. Margot
Robbie.
I, Tonya. Saoirse Ronan, Lady Bird. Meryl Streep, The Post. Is Meryl Streep just like automatically get
She's
nominated
out.
no matter
She's
what?
actually just on the ballot. They have it just
just every
printed there.
time they just
Yeah,
put
she's
her-
printed when you
Yeah.
get your
Okay,
ballot.
Perfect.
Yeah,
She wasn't in a movie this year. Yeah, just go with it, guys.
Yeah, it
It
doesn't
went-
matter.
yeah.
It doesn't matter.
Meryl Streep not in a movie this year. That'd be the name of the movie.
Yeah.
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 She's nominated for being Meryl,
Meryl
Streep.
Streep. Meryl Streep.
She will not be. She will not be getting up.
Can we
at
think
the
of
awards
any?
ceremony, no.
So Meryl Streep won't win.
No. And in fact, I would argue there were a couple people that were snubbed that probably could have had her spot.
Okay, let's talk snubs first then.
Jessica Chastain for Molly's Game was fantastic. And who was the other one? There were two that I talked about in the column today.
I'm trying to think of other movies.
Actually, Vicky Creeps from Phantom Thread. I thought she owned that movie.
Yes, she was better than Daniel Day-Lewis.
Yeah, I would argue she was. I mean, she owned the film. I mean, that was her movie.
Well, no,
That was her
he's
movie.
great, but
he's fantastic in it. But
his
it's her movie. It's not his movie. It's her movie. He's not the lead by the end. I don't feel like. I feel like she is. And
I
I thought
agree with you.
I thought she stood up with Daniel Day-Lewis.
Sure.
I mean, she was great.
I'm trying to think of other. I don't think there's anyone from Get Out. There's not anybody from
Not what was her name? Allison Williams.
No.
Brian Williams' daughter.
Yeah.
Yeah. No.
I mean, should she have like
If anybody,
best supporting
it would have
actress
been
or
she's
nomination
fine
or
in it,
anything?
but she's
She was
fine in
she's
it,
great.
but,
But if anything, Catherine Keener would have had maybe a conversation. But I still would have picked the maid over
Either one of
any
them.
other- yeah.
She's awesome.
I'll learn her name eventually. I don't.
I can look it up. I'll look it
Yeah.
up.
No, it's not.
No,
Big deal.
it
But anyway,
should-
so-
no, it
Give
is
them
a
something
big
to do
deal.
while we talk. It's
It
fine.
really is a big deal.
So for this, Streep is out. Mm-hmm. But then I think this is one
Thanks for coming.
where I really don't. I mean, it could go a couple different ways.
I
I
think
think
there's a
Frances
clear front runner.
McDormand's going to win.
I do too.
But
I don't want her to, but I think she is.
I don't think I would choose her. I think I would choose Sally Hawkins.
I would too. And the reason that I would go
feels
is
good, Joe.
I know it's weird. It's like do we hug now? I mean, how does this work?
Jason loves hugs.
Well, but my thing with her performance is again, Frances McDormand gets to be big. She gets to swear and kick kids and throw shit and set things on fire and all that stuff.
Sure.
Whereas Sally Hawkins has to give this entire performance
Plays a
without
mute.
speaking.
And falls in love with a fish.
Right, and sells it.
And it works.
And she sells it.
I know.
I mean, she's fantastic, and she does more with a look. And because she has to,
Yeah.
she has no choice. She has no.
She
gets
doesn't speak.
Yeah, she has one fantasy sequence where I think she sings, and that's it.
right,
Other than
that's
that, you don't hear her voice in the movie, but her character registers so strongly in spite of
I
that.
cannot believe she's not running away with this.
I know. I think she's the winner. I mean, I was impressed by Margot Robbie. It was Margot Robbie,
Yeah.
which she did in I, Tonya.
Learning how to skate?
Also making me not hate Tanya Harding. Do you know how
Yeah.
hard that is?
Yeah, you do feel bad for Tanya Harding.
Right. By the end of the movie, you're kind of sympathizing. Then the movie ends, and you're like, "What the hell is wrong with me?" But she, after Wolf of Wall Street, which she was very good in, this has kind of reaffirmed to me that she's somebody who's going to stick around, and we're going to be seeing her.
legit.
I mean, before this, it was like, well, she was the best thing in Suicide Squad, but I mean, come on, that's
Sure.
like if you look up "damning with faint praise" in the dictionary,
Oscar winner.
that's right next to it.
Suicide Squad.
Right, Oscar. Sorry, Academy Award winner, Suicide Squad.
Oh gosh.
And
But
then
to be
Saoirse.
fair, yeah, also excellent. She's
God, I think I saw Lady Bird probably before I saw most of these, except Get Out.
same here.
And
Even before
I
Get Out,
remember
actually.
thinking like, okay, this is her time.
Yeah.
Because she's been great so many times already.
She has.
And she's 24.
She was in Brooklyn last year, the year
Yeah.
before. She was so good in that too.
And you think, oh my God. And then now she's going to finish like fourth.
Right.
In my,
This category is incredibly strong. And the other thing that is surprising to me this year, I had seen all of the performances in this category before any other. And that almost never happens because if you think about Best Actress in past years, there's almost always 2 or 3 roles that are in movies that nobody's heard of. It's like
Still Alice.
you
didn't have
only
Best
know
Picture.
this movie
Yeah.
because Dame Judi Dench just killed it.
Yeah.
But other than that, the movie wasn't real good. You didn't have that with the women this year. The Best Picture nominees, the best of the Best Picture nominees, were driven by these strong female characters,
Sure.
and we don't usually see that. That's usually the men.
Yeah, feels kind of the opposite this year. You're right.
Yeah, because this year you get Denzel for Roman J.
That's right.
But Israel.
Exactly.
But
But yeah, Frances McDormand.
She's gonna win.
It seems like she's winning. I really hope something happens and Sally Hawkins wins.
I do too. I'm completely
she
on board with
absolutely
that.
deserves it.
Yes, she's fantastic in this film.
So Vegas thinks Frances McDormand is the runaway favorite.
Also,
by
the
a
Academy
lot.
loves Frances McDormand
Yeah.
too. Ever since Fargo, they've loved her.
And also Betty Gabriel is the maid from.
Hey, Betty, shout out.
Yeah.
Shout out to Betty Gabriel.
Why does she not have a Best Supporting Actress nomination?
Good. Yeah, absolutely. She made that.
Yeah,
She's
brilliant.
a meme. She's a meme.
And so besides Edgar Wright, Betty Gabriel's been the secret winner of this podcast.
Oh,
I feel like those two are crushing the
so good.
podcast,
right.
which gets you absolutely nothing. We don't even have a swag bag.
we don't send any.
We don't even have swag.
No.
We got nothing.
Oh,
Whenever when you post this, can you just tweet at her like, "Hey, lots of love,
we love
Betty."
you.
Yeah,
yeah.
Her
Exactly.
and Edgar Wright, and see which one of them
Yeah,
responds.
exactly. I'm down for that. That's a good idea. All right, best actor:
All right.
Bring it.
Timothy Chalamet.
Yep.
Call
Sure.
Me by Your Name. Daniel Day-Lewis, Phantom Thread. Daniel Kaluuya, Get Out. Gary Oldman, Darkest Hour. And I'm so excited for this one. Denzel Washington, Roman J. Israel, Esquire.
Now, while
Gentlemen.
while Denzel wasn't that bad, the movie was so bad.
It's the
He didn't-
it's the Dame Judi Dench movie.
Yeah, but it was so.
It's this is only worth watching because Dame Judy's good. This is only worth watching because Denzel's
it's
pretty good.
not
in
worth
it.
watching.
No, it's really not. It's a bad
Don't
movie.
ever
It's a
watch
bad
Roman
movie.
J. Israel
Yeah, it's a
Esquire.
bad
You
movie.
literally told me to watch this movie.
Only because I
So
wanted
we
you
wanted to
laugh
talk
at it.
shit about it here on the podcast is why.
Yeah, and let's just talk about it for a minute.
Sure, let's go.
It
I watched it 2 nights ago. I'm ready.
It was just a constant. Why did you make that decision?
Right.
So wait, basically they set the scene. Here's this is almost on the spectrum type guy.
Yeah.
Who is working on this project? It's his lifelong project for good, and some things happen. There's a little career change. Then all of a sudden, he makes just this out of character decision
To stop being who he is.
to be unethical.
Right.
And then somehow, at the end, after he realizes he's made a decision that was wrong, he now dies.
Right.
And
spoiler
somehow,
alert, but you know.
don't see it.
Yeah, don't watch it. I said, don't. We're not ruining anything worth seeing.
And then and then somehow, the lifelong project he has now goes to Colin Farrell,
Right.
Who we thought was bad, but actually was good, and is now the hero. Why wasn't the movie named after him?
I don't know.
He
I
ends
feel
up
like it
being the
should have
good
been called
guy.
Colin Farrell. Yeah.
It was. I remember thinking, like, why did they make that decision?
There was so much, but here's the thing that actually, if I want to bitch about one thing about that movie, that was 3 weeks. How in the hell did all of that happen in 3 weeks? I mean, come on. I mean, and at one point, I swear he walks in and says that the guy's been in a coma for a few weeks now, and I'm like, but you said the whole thing happens in 3. What the hell is going on? It
was like straight out of like a cartoon.
It was
where
bad.
someone finds a bag of money, and then all of a sudden they're on vacation the next day. Like, and then they're back to work the next Monday.
Because it all happened in 3 weeks, so
And
that
we're
whole thing
talking
happened in
about-
24 hours. Let's be honest.
Yeah,
For this to work, he went on vacation and came back within 12 hours.
mind you, the whole time is this possibly semi-autistic do-gooder,
Right.
who all of a sudden is now a take the money and go on vacation criminal.
Bad doer. No, his cellmate said that you were the only one he told.
Yeah, that was
Like,
all,
what
that was all far-fetched. And before that guy got murdered in prison, I guess he told everyone,
Right.
Hey,
I only told my lawyer, but just my lawyer. It was just my lawyer. Did you tell anybody else? Are you sure? No, I'm positive. It was just my lawyer. I mean, oh my God.
So
it
yes,
was
it was so bad. I did not.
But I
don't want him nominated.
I agree with that, but I will defend slightly the nomination because Denzel, in spite of all things, sells as much as you can there.
Yeah.
He was good in it.
I
Would
noticed
he have been
didn't
on
do
my
any
list?
Interviews about it.
Yeah, I said, would he have been on my list of the 5 best actors of the year?
No,
No.
because James Franco would have been in.
James Franco would have been in. Yeah, James
Or-
Franco was very good.
Keanu Reeves.
For John Wick, too.
Yeah,
of
that's
course.
a big
Yeah.
snub.
Or
Can't
Hugh
believe that-
Jackman.
Hugh Jackman
Actually,
was a
you could've
legit
talked me
candidate.
into
For
that.
like
You could've talked
Logan.
me
I
into
mean,
that.
I would have been. It would have been in the conversation.
I would. You could talk me into Hugh Jackman.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of anybody else that might have been snubbed here. Daniel Day-Lewis, I thought you knew he was going to get nominated for his last performance.
Also because he's Daniel Day-Lewis,
Right.
Right.
And he's amazing.
You're right.
But-
He's the Meryl Streep of men.
By far, though, the easiest role he's ever had. I mean, it was the first time he's ever used his own voice. And that's real. I'm not making that up.
Yeah, you're not wrong about that.
They actually talked about it. It's the first time he's ever, because he's, other than he learned how to sew.
But to be fair, I mean, the controlled, in a similar way
Sure.
to, I mean, everything about his performance
Yeah.
was very controlled, except for those couple bursts that he had
Sure.
were very measured. And I respect
still
that.
think he
He
should
gave
get
an
nominated.
excellent performance. I have no problem with him being nominated. It would not be up there with, there are two movies that he has been nominated for and he didn't win that I'm still actively angry about. I actually really like
Gangs of New York?
Gangs of New York, absolutely. I'm
Yeah.
actively angry that he lost to Adrian Brody that year.
Yeah.
That might have been the only one, actually. I might have just had
Yeah, he
one.
won There Will Be Blood.
Yeah, he won There Will Be Blood. That was what I was
Won
thinking.
My
Of.
Left
Like, no,
Foot
he won that.
and Lincoln, right? He's won 3.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is the only one to win 3 Best
Yeah.
Actors, and he should have 4 because Adrian Brody
Yeah.
and Pianist, which was also a very, very bad movie. But I was very bored during that film. Yeah, I didn't like The Pianist. He was fine in it, but not better than Daniel
He
Day-Lewis
doesn't
in
realize
Gangs of
how
New York.
funny the Holocaust is.
I don't.
No,
See,
you
that's
really
the problem.
don't. You really need
the
to
problem
listen to
was
other
neither did
Evansville
Roman
podcasts.
Polanski. Roman Polanski also did not know.
Oh, that's true. That's
man.
true. Yeah, we'll blame it on him.
But I mean, Daniel Day-Lewis in Gangs of New York is one of those like
Yeah.
all-time great performances. So I'm not mad he didn't win this
Okay,
one.
so if we're Denzel's out,
Denzel's
Daniel
out. Yeah,
Day-Lewis
dear
is
God.
out, James Franco's out due
Because
to
he's not
sheer
in.
not nomination.
Because he's not in. Yeah.
So that
right.
leaves us with
Daniel Kaluuya, who's also out.
Probably not going to win.
And
So
Though,
brings-
you know,
excellent
actually, I'm gonna,
performance. Daniel Kaluuya.
I thought he was fine. I didn't.
Yeah, I thought it was all right.
I didn't see any
No,
reason
man.
to nominate him.
Have you? How many times have you watched Get Out?
One.
Okay.
One, maybe, yeah, one.
Yeah, I don't think that.
I never
to me, I don't know that he'd been in my
thinking,
top.
like,
I didn't.
he's really selling this.
There were things in the movie that I watched and I was like, yeah, I mean, like it's a really good film. It's a really good script. It's well directed. The performances didn't make me go,
Yeah.
oh yeah.
Think maybe watch
Outside
it
of Betty
again
Gabriel.
and watch him. You
No.
might. You might.
It is a movie that I think deserves a second watch because after I know now what I know, I would catch on some subtle glances that I didn't
think
know.
this is definitely one of those you have to watch a couple times.
And
Yeah.
then so that leaves the other two.
Yep.
Which is Darkest Hour, Gary Oldman.
And
I'm sorry, after Sunday, Academy Award winner Gary Oldman.
yeah,
is what we
and
meant
then the
to
other
say.
one,
Call Me by Your Name, Timothy
Chalamet.
which are
Chalamet.
probably the Vegas top two, I'm guessing. Now, obviously, Gary
No,
Oldman's
Daniel
going
Day-Lewis
to
is
win.
probably second in the Vegas.
Gary Oldman is by far the runaway.
Yeah.
Yeah,
On this,
Who's two?
2 would be a tie between
Day-Lewis and Chalamet.
Yeah.
Chalamet and Daniel Kaluuya.
Oh,
Really?
Yeah,
Interesting.
Daniel Day-Lewis is 4th. on
Okay,
this
so-
list.
Interesting.
Chalamet.
Denzel Washington,
Oh,
a
I
distant
know.
5th.
Going back, I wanted Armie Hammer to be nominated for Best Supporting Actor.
Yes, actually, Armie Hammer and Michael Stuhlbarg both. I
Yes.
could make a case for in that movie. They both were fantastic.
Yeah, what a big year he had. He was in every movie.
Stuhlbarg, yeah, he was in pretty much everything.
3
He was,
Best Picture nominees.
but and the thing is, I watched it. I saw Call Me by Your Name late enough in the game that they had talked about the performances
Yeah.
and that sort of thing, and I watched most of the film going, I mean, Stuhlbarg's fine, but why? And then he had that monologue at the end, and I was like, holy shit. He's terrific in it. And Armie Hammer was terrific in it.
Yeah.
I don't like the movie nearly as much as you do, but I thought they were both phenomenal and should have been nominated.
Yeah. So this kid speaks 3 languages in the movie fluently.
Yep.
Yeah.
He has to play a kid going through a weird thing. So I think that's why sometimes it's brash, sometimes it's not, because he doesn't know when he's comfortable. I think he nails that.
I see. I just
Trying to be
me,
overly sort of all of a sudden he gets really into this girl because he's not unsure about his feelings about this boy. It's
Right.
Just, I thought it was awesome.
I
thought he nailed it.
He just felt all over the place to me. I didn't feel like there was and part of that's writing. I didn't feel like there was
Maybe.
a consistent through line for the character, and part of that's writing, and part
I
of that's
will
performance.
say that the first half of the movie is slow.
Yes.
It's very slow.
It is.
So it's really until they get into just the heavy
Right.
like relationshipy.
Stuff.
Yeah, because it's like 50 Shades of Gay. Can we say that?
That's the title of
You
this
just
episode,
did,
I
so
think.
you know. I think
it's
we're
not-
good.
I'm not saying that. I'm just saying like it's there.
Sure, yeah.
These two spend a lot of time on screen
Together,
loving on each other.
they do.
Okay.
Absolutely.
It's not a fake thing.
Yeah.
I'm not,
There's a- I
I'm
think
not
fewer-
making fun of it. I mean, it's really a heavy.
Yeah, I think there are fewer like whips and ball gags than 50 Shades of Grey.
Sure,
But
sure.
but yeah,
I've never seen 50 Shades of Grey.
I haven't either. But I assume
No,
from what
either,
I've
but-
like
I
seen
mean, it's
posters
but-
and stuff.
But, I mean, it's like, and you know what? You got to give him a little that ending credits thing where he's just sitting there looking at the fire.
Yeah, it's a good scene. It's a good credit.
But
That is a good
yeah,
bit of credits.
But Gary Oldman wins these.
Gary Oldman is going to walk away with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, in a
And he
heartbeat.
should. He was awesome. He was Winston Churchill.
He was Winston Churchill. He was a very good Winston Churchill. And you know the funny thing? We'll get into this in Best Picture maybe. I didn't like Darkest Hour, but I loved him in it. I thought he was phenomenal in it.
I had to give Timothy Chalamet some love, though.
You feel free. Go feel free. I'm not going to join you in that. I'm going to leave that to Army Hammer. But I'm going to...
I like that. It was good.
There you go.
Thank you.
That's a nice turn there. All right, last category, Best Picture. Call Me by Your Name.
So do we get to pick which one they're going to call first and then which one is the real one?
I like it. Yeah.
Yes,
We're
you
gonna
can
do both? Okay.
Whichever you want. Whichever one. We can do 2 or 3 if you want. Call Me by Your Name. Darkest Hour.
Twist endings.
Dunkirk. Get Out. Ladybird. Phantom Thread. The Post. Shape of Water. 3 Billboards.
Before we go, anything you wish was in here?
Besides John Wick 2.
Yeah. Besides John Wick 2.
Logan.
Yeah, I
You
said
think
Logan.
you want Logan in there?
I kind of want Logan in there.
I want Logan in there
I do.
too.
I wish Tanya would have been there too.
I'd be okay with it. I'd be okay with Mudbound being in there too.
Yeah, and Mudbound.
Yeah.
Which is okay because that would fit because I want
Because I can drop a few.
I want the Post out.
The Post.
Talk about the Post. 'cause
I'm going
we
to talk
haven't
about
had
the
a
Post.
chance.
Well, and I don't dislike. I don't love the film. I don't dislike the film. I think that it is. Spielberg made it fast.
Very fast.
He made it fast.
Rushed.
And I feel a little bit
felt
like you can
rushed.
see it. I feel like you can see it on screen a little bit. I won't argue with that. I still liked it because I think that moment in history is worth
Sure.
dealing with, and I think that they did it fairly well. I loved Seth Meyers' joke at the Golden Globes where I don't know if you saw it in his monologue
No.
at the beginning where he says, we have The Post, which was Steven Spielberg directing Meryl Streep and Tom Hanks, and the girl comes walking out from backstage with an
Yeah,
armful
no.
of globes. And he's like, no, we can't do that yet. Not yet.
That was good. I
And
did
because
see
it
that.
feels like that. It feels like it's
Yeah,
a made for awards movie.
Sure.
So I liked it. I liked the story it told. I thought it did a good job, but I don't feel like it's one of those. When Spielberg does historical movies, you think of Saving Private Ryan or
Right.
Amistad or Munich or Schindler's List, and it's not on that level.
No.
I enjoyed it, but it is not on that level.
Yeah, it was. This is another chance to say a good candidate or a good nominee for best supporting actor would have been Bob Odenkirk.
He was good.
Bob Odenkirk
He was good.
awesome.
He was good.
But while there were some good acting performances, you're right. This movie was rushed out, and let's face it, it was rushed out to get it out during the summer of Trump. Whenever
It's a perfectly
when this
competent movie.
story matters now,
Right.
now during the current.
And in all honesty, I think that the way you know that people don't think that it's great, that even the Academy doesn't have that much support for it, is that it is the movie when you heard it was coming out. Admit it. The first thing you thought was Hollywood's going to make this Best Picture. It's going to win Best Picture at the
Yeah.
Oscars because they want to make a statement. They're not doing that.
No.
That's how you know that it's a competently made film.
Yeah,
It's fine. It's fine,
It's fine.
but it's not great.
So I would have gotten rid of the Post. Outside of that,
Was
I'm
it
okay
John
with-
Oliver that made the joke that he said, it's like seeing The Post. I remember that I went into a theater. There was something with Tom Hanks. Meryl Streep was a national treasure. I don't remember anything else.
Sounds right.
That's
Now,
that's about,
now how neat. Now, I don't think this is a spoiler, but did you love that the final scene was the very first scene of All the President's
of all the President's Men. Yeah, I did like that. That was a
That's-
nice little nod.
that
That
was
was a nice
that
little
was
nod.
awesome.
Also, just for worth noting, 2 University of Evansville theater alums in The Post.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm. Dee Dee Lovejoy, who played Tom Hanks's assistant secretary.
Okay.
And Brent Langdon, who's actually here and was in Hamlet last April on the UE Theater stage, played Bradley Whitford's, the guy that was with him the whole time.
No, Bradley Whitford had a big year.
Bradley Whitford had a
Yeah,
big year, yeah.
okay.
But it was just worth noting because Brent had been here and we actually had.
very cool.
I was able to send him a message, say, "Hey, great job! Really loved it. What was it like being that close to Meryl Streep?"
Yeah.
Right.
Okay, so if we say Post out,
Yes. Mudbound
comes
in
in
its place.
eighth.
Yeah, Mudbound in its place.
No, I'm saying so. Of the 8, there's 8 nominees, right, or 9?
9.
There's
Okay.
Did they use all 9?
There was
or
9
of the 10.
Yeah,
They used
there
9
was
of the
9.
10.
I counted here.
Okay.
And oddly enough,
But I'm still
on,
putting
on the
Mudbound in its place.
odds I see, The Post is not the worst of the
Not the lowest.
ones. Yeah.
Is that Darkest Hour?
Darkest Hour is probably 10. 9.
No. Well, yeah, it's tied for worst.
The last
with
spot.
another
Yeah.
one.
And I don't.
Ooh.
I don't like Joe Wright as a director. I just haven't. I mean, everybody
Are
loved
they
him
saying
when.
Dunkirk?
No.
Call Me by Your Name?
No. Phantom Thread.
Oh, Phantom Thread.
I could see that.
Yeah, Phantom Thread and Darkest Hour are the worst.
Before we actually get into
Yeah.
to ranking these things, though, the other thing that I'll say, most years there's one movie to me, and it may not be the thing that's the favorite, but there's one movie that I watch and I walk away going, "Damn." You know, like I walk
Yeah.
away and I go, "That is the best thing I've seen. That's the most original thing I've seen. That's the most
Yeah.
unique." I didn't have that this year.
No, I had a movie I
floored me.
loved, but it wasn't because it was so.
Nothing
I
floored
loved
me.
Lady Bird,
Yeah.
and I really liked Dunkirk. I really like Call Me by Your Name.
I had really likes. I just didn't have that
yeah.
one that I was like
But-
I walked out of, what was it, 2 years ago, The Big Short.
Yeah,
I walked out of that. I was like, that was amazing because they took a tough, complex subject, made it funny and
Yeah.
horrifying and entertaining all at the same time, and I was blown away by that. I didn't have that this
yeah,
year.
you felt a little. I felt a little Big Short in I, Tonya.
There's a bit of it. And it's in the style of filmmaking
Yeah.
where they had the interview bits and stuff like that. I mean,
Funny,
yeah.
yeah.
There's a bit of that stylistically in that.
Okay, so then realistically, how? Then just so you know, or everybody knows, I guess the way they do the
Right,
best
the voting.
picture voting. This is why it matters. What I'm going to say, like it.
I'm gonna sign the table while he talks.
Let's just say there's 200 voters. There's more than that.
Okay.
Then I believe it's if somebody gets 100 first place votes, they win Best Picture. But let's say there's like a mixture of 50, 30, 20. What they do is they take whoever came in last and redistribute its votes until such time that somebody gets to 100. So now they take the new last. So what happens is in a year like this, like last year, that's why we thought La La Land would run away. We thought it'd get its 100 votes. So I'm thinking in this scenario, you kind of have to think the people who really like The Post, Darkest Hour. What was the other one? No, that's not going to win. Phantom Thread.
Phantom Thread.
What
yeah.
would they? Where would their votes go to next? That's kind of what I'm saying. So I think like, so what would you pick? What would you pick before we do what would you think will win?
You know, the funny thing is, I'm torn between two: Shape of Water, Shape of Water, and Three Billboards. Three Billboards was, I thought, of the ones that I saw, the one I had the most fun watching.
Yeah.
Shape of Water was a pretty incredible achievement.
So I'm glad you said those two. I would pick Shape of Water, but I think what will hurt Three Billboards will be that there's no strong one, and I think there's going to be some people who have it lower down the list than others.
I could see that.
So, like, think if you like Darkest Hour, if you like The Post, if you like Phantom Thread, those are very different movies than Three Billboards.
Incredibly
yeah.
different movies, yeah.
So I could see Shape of Water being, but even like a Dunkirk and Lady Bird getting more votes based on the system. So in my head, I think I would pick Shape of Water.
You know,
I think it was the best movie this year. It feels weird saying that because I don't know that I'll ever watch it again.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I don't know that I'll watch it again either. I think that, to me, it has one weakness, but every film has a weakness. I don't have that one that I walked away from and just went, wow. And to me, the weakness is
Michael Shannon,
the government subplot. I mean, that whole storyline to me felt out of the Hollywood script factory.
Yeah, kind of the.
Yeah. And his character is he's very much a caricature. Whereas
Yeah.
everybody else feels incredibly well fleshed out and
Yeah, it's weird. You have to have a villain.
yeah.
But yeah, I agree. I see what you're saying.
Yeah, but again, there's not that one film that I go, that doesn't have
Yeah.
a weakness. There's not. I mean, like Dunkirk is a beautifully made and exceptional achievement in cinematography and filmmaking, but it's boring.
Yeah.
You know,
So that's tough. I mean, Lady Bird was my favorite movie this year. I mean, as I've said, but I think Shape of Water, if gun to my head, is who I would pick to win if I had a ballot.
And there's something to be said for the technical achievement and just the ability, the degree of difficulty. I mean, if we're just coming off the Olympics here, the degree of difficulty of taking that story and just making it work.
Exactly right.
And
that's the difference to me.
Yeah.
Lady Bird, you could give it to any director, and even if it's not as good as it is,
It's still going to be
people are
good.
going to still like it.
Right.
You give Shape of Water to anyone else, it's a joke.
Right.
Instead, it was amazing.
It's a terrific film. I've had a hard time deciding what I think is my favorite movie this year. Like what I really liked the best. I mean, I enjoyed Three Billboards because I'm a sucker for good writing, but I also acknowledge its flaws. I had more fun watching Molly's Game.
I wanted a little bit more from it. I don't know what it was.
See that.
I guess I wanted a little bit more.
You wanted some closure at the end too.
A little bit.
Yeah, you wanted
and
closure.
Normally, I don't need that. But for some
but it
reason,
felt like there was going to be some this time.
Yeah,
and it's
because
like
they built up the whole. I mean, that's what the billboards were.
Right.
It felt like there was going to be something.
Yeah, that tied it, and there wasn't.
No.
But I mean, I think I had more fun watching Molly's Game than anything else. But I also acknowledge that the last quarter of that movie is immensely flawed.
Sure.
So I can't say it's the best film of the year. I really liked Logan. And that, speaking of degree of difficulty, I mean, how many, I can name one other superhero film that I watch and I don't walk away going, that felt like a superhero film, that I just went, that was a great film. And the poster's on the wall right over there.
Yeah.
Other than The Dark Knight, I can't think of a lot of those superhero movies that not only was a great superhero movie, if you watch a Marvel film, you might walk away from it and go, that was a really good, that was fun. It was a really good comic book movie. But you don't walk away from it and go, that was a really good film. That was a really good, it's really good within its genre. That movie it owed more to Unforgiven than it did to Guardians of the Galaxy.
So I would, to recap it, I'd say I think Shape of Water will win.
I agree. Yeah, sorry, you're bringing me back on track, Corey.
Well,
Stop
no, I'm doing it too. I'm just trying to, because I'm torn. This is weird. It's a weird year. That's why when I said I think Lady Bird's got a shot earlier, it's only because everyone liked it. So if the way that voting works,
it could happen.
It could be that it was like third on so many. So when you eliminate some, it all of a sudden
becomes the favorite. And that's you may be exactly right, because I don't think, Phantom Thread has no shot.
None.
I don't think Darkest Hour has much of a shot.
Zero.
And I didn't like it.
It was an actor movie. They gave it a nom. It's fine.
Yeah, I'm going to punt that one out in favor of one of the other ones we talked about too. Mudbound can come in now.
Sure,
it can leave.
I agree.
So I didn't care for that one. Dunkirk, I think, is going to be, now it could sneak in. Dunkirk, because it has a lot of admirers.
Could.
It has a lot of admirers. My problem with it, again, as a filmmaking achievement, it's great. I think Nolan did exactly what he wanted to do. I just think that without context, the characters don't shine through. And I don't feel like there was a story that I got entranced with. It was boring. But it was pretty.
Yeah.
It was really well made.
Yeah.
But it was boring. What are the other ones that we haven't talked about?
Leaves you with Get Out.
Get Out, which
I don't think Get Out's an automatic loser, but I would be shocked if it won.
I'm the same way. And I feel like there's a perception, and I don't know that I agree with it, that it's too slight as a film, that it feels smaller because of when it came out, because it's a horror movie, it's in this genre.
Which I don't even think it's a horror movie, but I think
I think it's a satire. It's like a really good satire.
Yeah.
But I think, and again, satire is not something that's really going to knock the Academy off their seats.
Yeah, psychological thrillers not there.
Yeah, so I don't think that it's
keep it simple.
Yeah, I think it feels too small in a way because of the genre and that sort of thing, and that's a shame because it's a really good film.
Well, there has to be part of. I think there's even probably some Academy voters that aren't going to give first-time writer-director Best Picture,
and that could hurt Greta Gerwig too.
Could hurt Greta Gerwig.
Could hurt Greta Gerwig too.
You're right.
And again, to me, Lady Bird, again, being a very, very well-made, but very established genre film, it feels a little slight to me.
Oh no, I agree.
Yeah,
I think
But you're right. No, I understand where you're coming with it.
Is that when you look at like the critical acclaim?
Oh, it's loved.
Yeah,
yeah.
Like
critics loved
love
it. Yeah, critics loved it. Phantom Thread is happy to be here.
Sure,
it's happy to be here. I was surprised when it was nominated.
I think it really, the way it sounds, it comes down to 3 billboards.
Shape of Water.
And Shape of Water.
And maybe Dunkirk. I could see it sneaking in because it has gotten a lot of, honestly, I think it's gotten more attention than I expected it to be completely honest.
Yeah. So I think, I would put, if you had to put some money on it, I think Shape of Water is the way to go.
Same. Yeah, same. If I were betting.
And I would have it as my number one if I had to rank the 9.
I think I would too. I think I would too. It would be. I would have to make a tough decision between the
Yeah.
3 billboards, but I think I probably would
Yeah.
too.
So Vegas has 3 billboards as the odds-on favorite.
But I'll bet it's the
Wow.
closest. I bet it's the
But it's
closest of
very
the last
close.
few that we
Oh,
talked
it's
about.
absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Whereas
very close.
Frances
Shape of Water's
McDormand.
second.
You say whereas Frances McDormand, they're like, we're just going to go ahead and
Yeah.
just give
Yeah.
it to her before she gets here.
Right, yeah. Lady
Man.
Bird's third, by the way, on this one. So
Yeah, I think the same thinking that just it's so liked it could the way they do the voting is
It could
interesting.
sneak in. Yeah. It could.
All right.
It could moonlight us. We don't know.
yeah, there you go. So okay, so last question that I have for you
Yes.
guys
Sure.
is 5 years from now, we look back at this Oscar awards and go, I can't believe that this didn't win. What is your pick?
Wow. It would be if that's a good question.
That's a great question because I'll tell you what. I mean, I look back at some of.
I'm trying
and
to
it's
think.
usually more than 5 years, but you look back. I mean, like I think back to like '94, where Forrest Gump won, and you look at it now, and
Yeah,
you're like,
oh
you know
my
what?
God.
Pulp Fiction and The Shawshank Redemption
Right,
were
yeah.
up that year. What
Yeah,
the
what-
hell was wrong
what
with you
happened?
guys?
What were we
Yeah.
thinking?
Yeah,
What's
we
going
gave
on here?
Roberto Benigni an Oscar in 1998. I
Right,
mean,
right.
So what? Yeah, you're right. Because there's movies like Eternal Sunshine that 5 years later it's crazy that it.
yeah,
Right.
Zodiac. I love Zodiac. I'm
oh,
sorry.
man.
That's my favorite.
We could
feature
argue about
movie.
that one later.
You don't like Zodiac?
No, I just don't like how it ended.
Oh, because reality?
Yeah, well, I didn't know. I didn't know.
He doesn't like reality.
I didn't know. I really don't. I
Yeah.
watch movies for not
Yeah,
reality.
I'd say the.
That's called documentaries.
That's fair. Okay, that's fair. Okay, I've heard of those.
yeah, right, yeah.
you get the sense that 3 billboards will be the most popular moving into the future.
You know, it's possible. I think there'll be a cult around Shape of Water for a long time.
You think so?
I think because of,
But Pan's Labyrinth just died.
except for among probably Del Toro fans.
No, I mean like
But-
it's good,
Yeah.
but it's just no one talks about it and you don't really
No.
hear about it.
No, but it also is a foreign
But
language
whereas
film too.
three
you know,
billboards has that Coen
Feel.
Tarantino
Yeah,
on
it
TV
does.
all the time, even though you can't say cuss words, how's it on TV? Sort
I
of
feel like that
feeling.
one there's going to be no dialogue left, you know?
It's Monday to Friday snakes on this Monday to Friday
Yeah.
plane, that kind of thing.
But Fargo's on all the time,
Oh, yeah.
and obviously that's not Martin McDonagh, but it's
No, but it does kind of
feels
have that
Coen-y.
feel to it.
Yeah.
It does have a bit of that feel to it.
so. I think it's possible. Maybe that's your answer. I'd say if Gary Oldman didn't win, that'd be the biggest surprise of the night.
I would, yeah.
But I don't think it would. I don't think there's anybody 5 years from now. Like, can you believe he didn't win when he was Winston Churchill? I think people would just forget about it.
Probably. I don't think there's. I mean, I still have, like I said, most of the ones that I can think of from, I look back a few years ago at this, like The Social Network, losing to
Yeah.
what the hell was the British film that King's Speech? Who remembers
Yeah.
the King's Speech? But The Social Network is.
I was convinced everyone would love Nocturnal Animals by now from last year, and I think it's just
Give it a couple
gone.
years. Give it a couple years.
Thanks.
It's not enough time passed yet.
So, does Get Out not do that over
think-
Shape
well,
of
you know,
Water?
I
or
could- I
something
think you
like
could
that?
see- I
Get
think
Out
that's
could
very
be the
possible.
most popular movie.
Yeah.
moving
And that could be the
forward.
one that we look back and go,
Baby
that
Driver.
was. We may look back and go, that was
Yeah,
groundbreaking.
we say, how was Baby Driver not even nominated?
Well, but the same thing. I mean, if you look back, Eternal Sunshine wasn't nominated.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
I mean,
you know what? Get Out could be.
Get Out could be one of those. Baby Driver, I do think we may look back and go, how did they not appreciate that more?
yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
and among the nominees, it very well could be Get Out because I do think that it's.
Yeah.
I think that is one of the smarter scripts, and it's the kind of film people look back at later and go, that was kind of groundbreaking. That movie was different, and it was
All right.
Cool.
Yeah, I don't know. It's tough. If we knew, then we would just tell you that already. You wouldn't
Why
have to
wouldn't
ask
you?
us that
What's
question.
going on with you guys? Why aren't you prescient? Well, thank
we're
you
just
guys.
we're not very smart.
I appreciate you guys
Bad
coming on
guys.
again.
Fun. Yeah.
It's always fun, and yeah,
Are you gonna watch, or are you gonna go to the Silent Passion of Joan of Arc?
I'm gonna probably do neither.
Okay.
So don't tell Robert Nichols.
Yeah, they're doing the silent. Robert Nichols does those silent movies. He's doing one Sunday night.
Oh, is he?
And
Yeah.
It's like
I'll be watching the Oscars.
Yeah, that's
actually,
what I thought.
I think I'm doing in depth with Brad Bird afterward to talk about after the
shout out to us.
Well, of course. I'm going to shout out to you guys into the end of the. I have a blog to
as
pimp
we talked
Yeah, you
about.
can say, I said this on Evansville podcast.
Yeah, as we predicted.
Yeah, I can do that and then pimp a blog at the same time. I'm basically just going on to be a whore.
You just pimp out
That's what
everything.
it comes down to.
That's all we care about.
Buy from the ashes while you're at it. I mean,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, WNIN needs some money, and I could use some.
Oh no, that one was mine.
perfect,
NIN didn't make that one, so that one was me.
Oh, screw those guys.
Exactly. They did Evansville at War though. They did do Evansville at War, which was
that's right.
Which was 2 years ago.
So I saw
Year and a
that
half
they
ago.
would. So clarify this maybe.
Sure.
Like WNIN said, if I donated to them, they would give me
They have
a copy.
they do have they have versions available
Oh,
as part of a pledge also.
But if I can get it straight from you,
you can get it
that's
straight from me as well.
100% to you.
It goes-
and I don't have to donate to those.
I love WNN and you should support them
I
anyway.
Yeah, you should absolutely do that. That's
They do some great stuff and I'm actually talking about doing something new with them right now. So
sweet. No, I do like WNIN. That was a joke.
of course.
Everyone should know that. No, well, people apparently don't know jokes like Hootenannies and Mary Ellen.
that's the
So
whole
we
thing.
need to clarify things. We're always joking on here, except for when we're not.
Except for when we're not, exactly. And you should know the difference.
Yeah, if you don't know, then you don't know. So, but yeah, thank you, and go Moonlight in this year's nominations.
No Moonlight?
Oh wait, what?
What was your question?
It's Moonlight. Moonlight's going to win, right? Is that what we said?
No,
I,
last
I
year.
really didn't listen. So,
Shape of Water.
Shape of Water. Okay,
Shape
so
of
Get
Water.
Out. So bet on Get Out to win. That's
You know
my
what?
pick.
If Get Out wins, that would be awesome.
I'm all in on Get Out.
Yeah.
It's,
I would actually legitimately be happy for him.
I would be happy for him, too. I would be.
So
It's not what I'm rooting for, but I certainly wouldn't be mad
so
if he,
in on
No.
Get Out right now. So I don't know why, but
The only thing that can make me mad is if Steven Spielberg walks up and takes home the Oscar for The Post.
Steven Spielberg and Meryl Streep and Tom
Yeah.
Hanks all get awards,
Yeah.
even though they're not.
Roman
even
J.
nominated.
Israel.
That would almost
Denzel.
be worth it.
That'd be-
Worth it just to make fun of
All
it
right,
one more time.
If
on
Denzel
Facebook.
wins, I'll watch that movie. How about that? Perfect.
I don't even know if I'd recommend it then.
Yeah, no, don't watch.
Yeah.
All right.
Plus, we just went through the whole thing.
Right.
I do legitimately remember I got the message from Corey when I was watching that. I was like, watching Roman J. Israel, I think you said, don't watch it, but do, because I want to make fun of it.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't.
Yeah. Don't, but do, please. I don't know. Right. Yeah. Cool.
All right, well, thanks, man.
All right.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Yeah.
Joe.
Thanks for having us.
I can dig it.
I'm going to Docs.
Good job, everybody.